Mr. Sam Griswold.
Yeah, thanks. Good to be here.
Sam, what makes it the worst college?
Nobody graduates.
Nobody graduates.
They let me teach there.
They let you teach there. And those two things.
That's it.
Those are the, I don't, how could you, nobody graduates?
Nobody.
Not one person. Who's the greatest?
One person.
Who's the best alum from Fountainhead Institute of Tech?
Oh, it's got to be me.
You went to Fountainhead Institute of Tech?
Yeah.
You didn't graduate, though.
Well, what's graduating?
I don't know. You're the expert of knowledge. You should know what that is. Okay. I can already tell this episode is going to go off the rails real quick. But this is going to be good. I'm excited. Sam, thank you for going to the show. Patrick, thank you for being on the show. Show's over. No, I rank you very much the worst of the worst winners. Behind me is the list, as always. We're going from these are all previous episodes. The winners of previous episodes. So worst country, Iran. Worst college nickname, the Evergreen State Geoducks. Worst non-alcoholic drink, Wheatgrass Juice. Worst marketing campaign, Bud Light Party. Worst Full House character, the studio audience. Worst fear, Heights. Worst famous animal, Air Bud. Worst band name, Imagine Dragons. Worst part of Indiana, Jared Fogle. Worst type of trash, Broken Glass. Worst bird, Geese. Worst book of the Bible, Leviticus. Worst sitcom trope, 2 dates, 1 night. Worst supervillain henchman job, Mr. Sinister. And the worst character on Friends, Mr. and Mrs. Geller. Now I got to ask both of you, Sam, when you're deciding what the worst of the worst is, what's your criteria? How do you decide such an abstract thought?
Well, it needs to be the actual worst of something, because a few of these are the best of the worst things that are supposed to be bad. So they need to actually be.
So you're saying like the item that is being ranked against is not something that's supposed to be bad.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be. I see. So you're looking for real down and dirty,
just real bad stuff.
Let you down. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see what he thinks are supposed to be bad, and that'll be interesting. I think throughout this. Patrick, how about you? What's your criteria deciding? Again, such an abstract thought. Worst of the worst.
Well, I guess I'm just gonna take these and just think about what could be worse than what's already up here. And if I decide that something can be worse, then I will have known that something is worse. That's how knowledge works, is by knowing things.
I'm starting to see how you went to that college. Those are a lot of words that Patrick said. They went a lot of different places, and I feel like nobody learned the damn thing. But we're going to start off with a veto round, and as always, we start with the youngest person here, Mr. Patrick Murray. What do you think is not the worst of the worst?
Part of Indiana, Jared Fogle.
You don't think Jared Fogle's the worst thing?
No, I think Mike Pence is the worst thing.
So wait, I'm telling you, maybe this is a little too much. We're ranking like Jared Fogle against Iran. Like, what's worse? Geese against Jared Fogle. I'm just saying. But you're saying Jared Fogle, known guy in the child porn.
He's not the worst part of it.
It's not. Well, no, it's not the. It's the winner of the worst part of Indiana. He won. I did an episode, worst part of Indiana. Jared Fogle won.
Yeah, you guys really fucked up on that.
Okay. And you're saying Jared Fogle should be removed because he's not even the worst part of Indiana.
I don't think he's the worst thing in this list either.
So you think Jared Fogle is not as bad as Mike Pence?
Yeah.
Sam, what do you think about that? Known child porn advocate, Jared Fogle.
Not going to touch that one.
Okay, well, I wish somebody would have told him that. All right. I did not see this coming. Honestly, thought he was a front runner in this whole entire thing.
I was looking at that list and I was thinking that should probably win.
And Patrick, who's the second time in the episode, the last time was on Best Person Who Died in 2016. He knocked out Muhammad Ali, said he wasn't that great. The guy whose nickname is the greatest. Patrick is taking on Muhammad Ali and Jared Fogle, of all people.
So you can punch a guy. Big deal.
You pick Gene Wilder. He can do nothing.
I picked Carrie Fisher.
Okay, well, she's She's better in CGI.
Yeah.
But Jared Fogle, the first one off the list, I can tell you the people in Vegas are losing their shit. A lot of people lost a bunch of money. Sam, you're up next. What do you think is not the worst of the worst?
I'm going to go with the fear of heights.
The fear of heights?
Yeah.
Why? That's a very scary thing, being high up there.
Because heights won because it was good at doing that thing, not being bad.
So fear is supposed to be bad. So
Yes.
again, your thought process is supposed to be bad in the first place. So you thought Jared Fogle, the parts of Indiana are supposed to be bad. So, all right, well, I can't argue that. I mean, this is Rachel Goldman and Billy Perkins were on the episode of Part of Indiana. They're not winners. Jimmy Robertson and Gwen Sunkel were on this episode. Again, not winners, those two. So let's continue. I'm going to be up next, taking not the worst of the worst off. And I'm going to go sitcom trope, 2 dates, 1 night. Because I kind of enjoy it every now and then. All right? I really like Mrs. Doubtfire. I thought, and that's not a sitcom, but I still like the way they did it. Because he was he's in drag. Have you seen Mrs. Doubtfire, Patrick?
Yeah.
It's a pretty good movie.
It's pretty fire. I don't doubt that.
All right. I'm going to take out two. Patrick, I'm going to ask you, are you doing okay?
Yeah, I'm great.
You seem to be a little off.
Well, I'm stoned.
Oh, man. One day you're going to see Patrick in his normal state, and that's currently. We're going to continue. We're doing a second round of Vita. The first round went so well. Why don't we do a second one? So, Patrick, as the oldest person here, who are you taking off the list as not the worst of the worst?
Not the worst of the worst.
I feel like that has been definitely stressed.
Airbud, famous animal.
You don't think he's the worst?
No.
Well, what's your reasoning? Because no one-word answers are literally the worst part of podcasts. You can't think of anything worse than...
He's a basketball playing dog.
Yeah!
He's a fucking badass, man.
So you think Airbud is just badass because of...
I think Shamu's the worst animal.
Man, you're upset with the decisions people made. This is David Britton and Bob Nugent. They made that decision.
Who are they?
All right. Well, that's fair enough. Worst famous animal, Airbud, taken off the list, folks. We're going here pretty smoothly. Sam, you're going to change it up. Jared Fogle, I still can't believe he took off before Airbud.
Yeah.
Jared Fogle, totally fine in Patrick Murray's book.
Well, we aren't really ranking them.
No, we're not ranking.
We're just eliminating them.
Yeah, but when you're eliminating one before the other, you're clearly have a
facto.
Yeah, that's de facto. De facto is a German word. Sam, I think so. I read it in a book. Sam, you're up next. What are you taking off as not the worst of the worst?
I'm gonna take off. I think the Evergreen State Geoducks.
Do you know what a geoduck is?
Yeah, I know what a geoduck is.
Do you know what a geoduck is?
Of course I know what a geoduck is.
Patrick, describe a geoduck as an expert of knowledge, what it looks like.
He's not an expert in animals.
There's an expert in knowledge that you have knowledge in animals. It's in the realm.
Well, a geoduck.
Yeah, what's it look like, Patrick?
Well, it's very duckish, but with some geo features.
What does that mean?
So
Describe it in better detail, please.
it's like a rock with some flippers.
Pat, Sam, how long have I thought that? Can you pull up a geoduck on your phone?
I can do that.
You think a geoduck is basically a rock with flippers? Is there a bill and like web feet?
Yeah.
So it's basically a boulder with the duck appendages.
Yes, it's a rock duck.
Do you think this is a Pokemon?
I mean, he's not super far off.
Oh yeah, he's way far
It
off.
sounds like a
A
Pokemon.
little rockish.
Yeah, but let me show him what a geoduck is.
Well, that just looks like a clamshell with a big cock.
That is what it is. Exactly what it is. It's a big cock clamshell. Big cock clam, they call it.
Big cock.
That's the nickname, yeah.
And that's the nickname a college sports team decided to call themselves. The Geoducks.
I mean, it's the worst nickname, but there's still a lot of bad things on here.
I don't.
That sounds like the best fucking nickname.
Why would you say it's the best fucking nickname?
It's very original. You know, I'm a big fan of the banana slugs too.
The Santa Cruz banana slugs. Yeah. Me and Patrick are California boys.
Yeah, California boys. It's a song that the band did. You know.
Yeah. The
California
Beach Boys. The Beach Boys.
Yeah, the ones.
Are you gonna fall asleep on the podcast?
I'm fine.
I don't know. I don't know if you are fine because you're already shutting your eyes off and leaning down to the left.
This
there.
is just how my face looks.
This is Patrick. You want to do the podcast? Hell yeah, I want to do the podcast. Shows up. Do you want to let Mersbo to wake you up? Jesus Christ. Geoducks off the list here. College nickname worst of the worst. I'm up next. It is not getting easier, but for me, this one is pretty easy. I am taking off worst marketing campaign, Bud Light Party.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, exactly. It's not that prevalent. It was one with Amy Adams and Seth Rogen. Not Amy Schumer and Seth Rogen's.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And they were
that wasn't that bad.
It wasn't good, but it's not memorable, so it's not something that's going to win this whole thing because, one...
I thought Bud Light's Say Yes to Anything was the worst one.
That was pretty bad.
That helped me out a lot.
With what?
Anyways, we're going to take Bud Light Party off. Marketing campaign, they gone.
It was between that and the Geoducks for me. So.
Between that and the Geoducks, I'll tell you what, Geoducks was going to win this whole thing. It was going to be Fogle and Ducks.
Yeah, Fogle.
I'll be Fogling some ducks, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about?
Duck Fogles.
I would have gotten away with it, wasn't for those meddling
Geoducks?
child porn that I kept watching. That's what Jared Fogle said when the cops got him.
Yep.
It was a Scooby-Doo like scenario. Zoinks. Patrick, did you like those 2 rounds of veto? Did you have fun?
I did.
We're gonna do a 3rd round of veto then.
Oh boy.
I would say this is the energy podcast. I don't know why he keeps going machine gun, but
You knew what you were getting into.
I thought Patrick would carry you, Sam, but it seems like you're carrying Patrick. I did not see that coming.
It just doesn't make sense physics wise, you know. I was just so much bigger than him.
Okay, Patrick, you're up. Worst of the worst. Which one behind you do you think is not the worst of the worst?
Character on Friends, Mr. and Mrs. Geller.
Really?
Loved him.
You love them.
Yeah.
I can't stress
First of all, Elliot Gould, fantastic actor. Have you ever seen A Bridge Too Far? It's really, really good.
What does that have to do with Friends?
Elliot Gould is in that movie, and
he plays Mr. Geller.
No, I know that.
And then he went
I don't
on to
know.
have, and then he went
But
on.
this is in Friends.
Well, this is after he got back from the war.
But wouldn't you say Mr. and Mrs. Geller made one of the worst people in the world, Ross, and they were really bad parents to Monica? That was Nikki Wright and Lauren Yohalik's entire argument when I had them on the podcast. Was
That
that
made such a terrible.
Monica's not even the worst person, but they just treated Monica so poorly.
They gave her a Porsche. They let her fucking live, and they let her live in their dead mother's rent-controlled apartment. They're such terrible parents. Oh man, these two kids got to grow up in a nice, secure, white suburban neighborhood. Oh yeah, they're such horrible parents. A little emotional trauma is just too much for them. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
One of them becomes like one's a doctor of dinosaurs, and the other one is like
a doctor of dinosaurs.
The other one becomes like a famous chef or some shit. Like, oh, terrible parents. Yeah, they're the fucking worst.
I gotta be honest. Until Patrick said that, I never thought of it that way. But yeah, I guess those kids had it pretty easy.
Yeah. Do you remember when they would talk about how Ross would dress up like a girl and play Tea Party?
Yeah.
Most parents, back in what that would be like the late 70s. When
Yeah.
Ross was,
Yeah.
But most parents back then would be beating their kid for dressing up like a girl. They took his cross-dressing tendencies and they let him flourish. You know, they're supporting him. They're very supportive of something like that, which is very unheard of for parents of that age and that time when he was growing up. So honestly, I don't think they were that bad.
To me, to you seem to be saying they're the best character on Friends.
I think so. Every episode they make an appearance, I get very excited. every time.
You seem to have way more of an opinion on that than you do about Jared Fogle. And that was the first thing you
It seems like you're keeping that one under wraps.
I just don't think I quite understood the game when we first started.
Yeah, I don't know. You seem like you really knew what you were doing. I'm thinking Jared.
Well, that's how you become an expert in knowledge. It's not necessarily knowing everything, but pretending like you do.
And figuring things out.
Yeah.
And I would say that Jared Fogle, Patrick may be jealous of Jared Fogle in the sense that
I don't know where you're going with this one.
there's a lot of directions.
I'm going to let you finish that.
I am in no way jealous of Jared Fogle.
I would say Patrick is inherently jealous of Jared Fogle and didn't want him to win the list. It had to remember that he lost so much weight.
I guess if there was anything to be jealous of Jared Fogle, it was. But you know how he lost? Have you heard the story about how he lost his weight? He was stalking some girl.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So this started in Bloomington. He was stalking some girl. The subway was part of his apartment complex. It was it's still there.
Yeah.
And he would stalk this girl, and then she'd get freaked out, and she moved to a new subway. So he lost the weight walking to the new subway.
Wait, that's really what happened?
Yeah.
Wait, he walked to the new subway because he was stalking a girl?
Yes.
I did not know this. I gotta say, once I call Patrick out, he has turned it around and become the best expert on this show by far. Jared Fogle lost the weight because he was being a creep.
Yeah, and then they made that a marketing campaign and rode that for decades or something until, he decided to like diddling kids. And then they were like, maybe not.
Somebody had told me, I don't remember who, but they said before the whole thing, Fogle was the guy you went to to get weird porn.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a whole collection of porn tapes in his apartment.
Apartment?
Yeah, Fogle lived in an apartment.
Oh, when he was in college.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We lived in Bloomington, Indiana.
I know that. I know someone who's
oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait, how do they know?
Went to college together.
My
What do they? Wait, let Sam talk for a little bit.
My sister went to high school.
Oh, there's nothing more to it.
He didn't have any anecdotes?
She said it was weird.
What did your sister say?
My older sister, she said, I'm not surprised that he touches kids. And I was like, well, you could have stopped this earlier then, huh?
Well, I don't know if that's your sister's fault. Let's not throw that blame. We can get mad at Subway itself.
Amy Pincus could have stopped a child molester.
Jesus Christ.
That's cool. She'll never watch this. She can't afford heroin, or she can't afford internet because of heroin. It's fine.
Okay.
Family struggle.
Worst part of Indiana, the Patrick Murray family. No, just still Jared Fogle. All right, you just took out Mr. and Mrs. Geller. You're up next. I hope you have as good of reasons as he had for any of these things at this point. Other than the Airbud, which is he's a dog, he plays basketball. That's pretty cool.
No, it's badass.
It's badass. You're up next, Sam.
All right. I'm going to go with the Full House character of the studio audience.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you like Full House?
No. But I've seen Full House
without a studio audience. When did you see Full House without a studio audience?
People take studio audience and stuff all the time on YouTube, and you can look it up. And the shows are way worse because you need a studio audience. Therefore, if the thing improves
without a studio audience, I wonder. They should add a studio audience for like dramas. Like The Blacklist. Ooh, just real serious moments.
There's studio audience for this show. That way, when he says badass, then you have like people start laughing, and then.
Well, I had a studio audience the last episode. It's probably the best episode I ever did. You guys are really falling up a tough one. I am going to do a future episode in front of a bunch of people, but that one's going to be about RuPaul's Drag Race, which I know literally nothing about.
Yeah, and see, you want
I need
people to
a studio audience. So I should
You want to.
Sorry,
Oh,
I just beer.
We gotta pander to them.
Yeah, we got to pander to the studio. We don't want to blame the studio audience because we want one. They're not going to just show up though.
No,
they don't. You have to hire them. They don't just come.
yeah, but I think it's an important thing for certain shows and it improves certain shows.
Yeah,
because they're terrible without them.
that's fair. That's a fair point. Okay. All right. Well, worst character, Full House. It's out. We're down to a final 7. Am I right? Did I count that? Yeah, final 7. Yep.
8.
Final 8. What?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, you didn't cross this one out. That's why.
Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Geller. All right, 7. Well, we're gonna before we get to the final part, the final 6. It's up to me to take one more off here, and this is tough. This is not easy. You know, I don't because I'm taking this one off because I just don't think it's gonna win. I'm taking off worst supervillain henchman job, Mr. Sinister. So just so you know, it's not Mr. Sinister we're ranking. It's working for Mr. Sinister.
Yeah.
Being his henchman. Which was a very good episode with Isaac Lanford and Corey Ewing, who were fantastic. The recording didn't do a great job. But I don't think working for Mr. Sinister is worse than the other 6 things that are left. Which is a very strange...
Geese?
Yeah, I think Geese are worse than working for Mr. Sinister.
Yeah.
So why is working for Mr. Sinister so bad?
Because he's not that popular, and he's a megalomaniac, and he seems like he would kill you easier than anybody else would kill you. And also, he'd experiment on you when you're sleeping.
Yeah. And so since he's not in as many issues as, say, Hydra, there's 30 guys versus 4,000.
Exactly. Hydra. Yeah, Red Skull. Well, as Corey and Isaac have stated, we don't want to be Nazis, but we'd rather work for Red Skull. Because there seem to be benefit plans. There seem to be all these things. And the audio version of this podcast is the worst Spider-Man film to be a henchman for. And it came down. Mysterio got second because it just seems like he'd be a nutcase. He'd be doing like, ooh, I tricked you. Ooh, I tricked you again. Ooh, Mysterio. But the guy who won was Chameleon because he seems like he's a really big micromanager. Plus, Chameleon seems like he'd have sex with your wife.
Yeah, you know, you can't have sex with my wife. I'm not married.
Do you need like?
I think he put all of his effort into those.
Yeah, you shot your wad early.
Mr. and Mrs. Geller.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not done.
I don't know how your energy works in your body. Like your adrenaline is like slowly in one glob moving through your body, and hopefully it hits up to your brain, and then you get your brain adrenaline. I don't know.
I just did some dabs before I came over. And,
How could you think that was a good idea?
Because I just woke up at noon.
That doesn't. Oh, that's how you wake up. You take a dab. They say a little dab will do you.
Yeah, that will do.
Well, I say that.
We have a different. We have
a lot of little dabs will do you even more.
I actually wake up to dabs too, but I just wake up and I do that dab.
Does that get you high?
You just hit yourself with that. No, Patrick. Please stop hitting yourself. Holy moly. All right, we're down to our final 6, folks. Our final 6. Oh it's the worst country, Iran, which I'm not surprised it got so far. Worst non-alcoholic drink, Wheatgrass Juice. Worst band name, Imagine Dragons. Worst type of trash, Broken Glass. Worst bird, Geese. And worst book of the Bible, Leviticus. At this point, we're going to go one item at a time and decide whether they should be in the top 3 or not of the worst of the worst. So first off, worst country, Iran. Is Iran a top 3 worst of the worst?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
What?
Well, okay.
I don't think so either.
Here's the reason. For these last 6, they're all pretty strong. Wouldn't you say, Patrick? They're all pretty strong.
One of them is Geese.
Yeah. That one stays for sure.
But they're not necessarily the worst of their things. So
I would say
again.
Let me just stress that all of these things went through a rigorous episode of ranking with 2 special guest experts in their field
Honestly,
to decide what the worst is.
I think Book of the Bible is going to win. Just
Well, don't say that part yet. We figure that part out at the end.
I mean, just because that sounds like the worst episode, really. You guys just talking about books of the Bible.
So you're doing like this as an episode
The
itself.
worst episode.
That episode was the first live episode I ever did, and that was at Kaiju in Louisville with Emily Strange and Tyler Gooch, and there was 2 people in the audience, and they walked out halfway through.
Well, yeah, you're talking about books of the Bible.
You were at Kaiju and didn't do the best Godzilla monster.
Why would I do that? I've never seen Godzilla. I ain't gay.
Because you're at a place called Kaiju.
Is Kaiju? I thought Kaiju was the red monster from Doom. What are those things called? The little ball ones? Jesus Christ. This is the worst episode I've ever done. Again, expert yawn. I don't think I've ever had an expert yawn on the show before. You're the first one. You actually might be the first person to fall asleep on the show. I don't know. This is the new room.
I've never fallen asleep on the show.
You've never fallen asleep. And this board is new. I bought it today. Excited to do it.
Looks great.
Patrick, on the other hand, he could be somewhere else. He might be somewhere else right now.
I'm wearing clean clothes. It's great.
I don't know how that reaction is.
I just don't think Iran's the worst. That's all.
I agree. Whatever.
Even considering it alongside of the rest of the things on the list.
I don't even think it's the worst country.
No.
If you say America, you're an idiot.
America's the worst country.
We're a great country.
I wasn't going to say America.
Where Armenia is from.
I think there are things on this list.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they're from Armenia.
Well, that's the worst country.
No, probably Kiribati.
Armenia?
Yeah.
Kiribati was the country I thought should have won because it's disappearing.
Yemen's pretty bad too.
Again, Iran is not great. Iran could hurt us more than these other countries. Which is what I care about.
Yeah, but I feel like I could have if I went to Iran, I could have a good time.
Iran is no Uruguay, but
Dude, Uruguay's sick.
I'll never
All right, we're taking Iran off the list. I can't believe this. Very surprised. Rachel Goldman and Zane Zadie were on that episode. Zane Zadie didn't like it because he was trying to pick a country that liked yogurt, and he felt that Iran didn't like yogurt.
Iran loves yogurt.
And then he goes, and then Iran was killing homosexuals. And he goes, and they buy a lot of yogurt, so that's not good for my yogurt business.
Was he an expert in yogurt?
No, he was from the country of Chobania, where they make Chobani yogurt. He was a foreign diplomat.
I've been there.
All right,
they got a lot of fruit on the bottom, you know.
That's your play. Anyways, next up, worst non-alcoholic drink, Wheatgrass Juice. Is that a top 3 worst thing?
Yeah.
I ran way off. Wheatgrass Juice staying on the list.
I'd rather go to Iran than have to take another shot of Wheatgrass Juice.
I'd rather go to Iran than take a shot of Wheatgrass Juice. All right, Wheatgrass Juice staying on the bottom 3.
It doesn't taste like wheat or grass.
The next up, worst band name, Imagine Dragons. Is that a top 3 worst thing?
No.
I think it is.
Well, here's
There's way worse band names.
No, there isn't, because Imagine Dragons, when they came out, they said it was an anagram for something else that they were going to release later.
Death from Above 1979 is the worst band name.
All right. Here's the thing. It is not necessarily the worst band name. I will agree to that, but I do think it's still worse than a few things on this list.
Imagine Dragons as a band name. It's a verb and a noun. That's horrible. That's absolutely horrible.
It also gives you something better to do during their concert.
Yeah, imagine some dragons.
You go to their concert, you just think of dragons. Like, it's better than the music.
Radioactive.
I think it can go.
Even that was they did.
We'll put it on the bubble. We'll keep going on the list. Figure some things out here. Next up, worst type of trash, broken glass. Is that a top 3 worst thing? That episode was Elise Whitaker and the lovely Pauline Chapulo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I do agree that broken glass is the worst type of trash. but I don't think it should stay there.
It's staying there.
I don't think it's the worst in this list.
Yeah, so you don't think it's the top 3 worst thing?
Uh-uh.
I don't think it's a top 3 worst thing, but I do think it's bad.
Broken glass is dangerous,
But it's dirty.
and it can get in your skin. It can stay in your skin.
I've been cut by broken glass.
I think we've all been cut by broken glass.
I've
cut people with broken glass.
Patrick cut me with broken glass. That's how he got on the show. He broke a bottle, and then... So, worst type of trash, broken glass, you guys are agreeing not top 3 worst.
Yeah.
Not top 3 worst. Still bad, though.
But, yeah, guys, this is the worst of the worst. All of these things are bad, all right? Except for Mr. and Mrs. Geller, which I feel like that whole episode I'm going to need to strike from the record. Based off Patrick saying, well, we're going to keep going. We're down to 4 now. So, worst bird, geese. Is geese top 3 worst item?
Yes.
You're sticking with geese. I hate geese. I'm not a big fan of geese.
Geese are shit.
Geese are pretty bad.
Geese?
I don't think they're the worst bird necessarily, but they are, because I don't think they deserve to be called birds.
Jeez.
No, if you're a bird,
you should hear what he has to say about black people.
You have the gift of flight, and still I have to
birds,
wait for you to cross the street.
Well, they don't move, and they're scary. They're scary
they
guys.
get aggressive.
They're like velociraptors.
They're like honking velociraptors.
Shit everywhere.
All right, so we're taking. I think geese is staying on the list, which means we're down to what is worse, the worst book of the Bible, Leviticus, or the worst band name, Imagine Dragons.
I think book of the Bible should stay.
I think band name should stay.
Oh,
Deuteronomy is the worst book in the Bible. First of all, let's talk about that.
So
whatever the one
Leviticus is the one that's very anti-gay and anti-women.
Yeah, but Deuteronomy is the one that tells you all the rules.
So is Leviticus.
Well,
Leviticus, Deuteronomy, and Numbers are all basically the books of law.
Yeah, well, fuck all of them,
So you just want the. This is more that the Bible is the worst book.
I just think the fact that this is an option, I just think needs to stay there.
Because it's an option that we can do the worst book of the Bible is the worst thing.
It needs to stay there. You need to know that this is the worst.
All right, what's your reasoning for Imagine Dragons being worse, Sam? I'm the tiebreaker vote here.
Imagine Dragons has done more damage than Leviticus has.
All right, that's enough. Leviticus is gone. That's a great line. I'm sorry. Goodbye, Leviticus. That's the funniest thing. Imagine Dragons has done more damage than the book Leviticus. It's great.
They popularized the terrible genre of music.
Patrick is asleep. And he laughed himself to sleep. That's how it works with Patrick.
You guys want to go get some breakfast?
We're going to get sushi, I thought. Why does it keep changing from item to item? We went cheeseburger to breakfast.
There was tacos at one point.
Sushi is breakfast.
Sushi is life.
He didn't say breakfast food. He just said.
Also, please don't plan after parties during the middle of the show. Jesus Christ. Well, the worst of the guests. The reason I have these two is I believe they are the worst guests I've ever had on the show. No, Patrick is. And we're down to our final 3, folks. 3 that beat out the likes of the country of Iran, Jared Fogle, the studio audience or friends. These 3 are the worst of the worst. Everyone, thank you very much. And those are worst bird, geese, worst band name, Imagine Dragons, and worst non-alcoholic drink, Wheatgrass Juice. These 3 items. Worse than, again, let me repeat, the studio audience for Full House, the country of Iran that regularly kills homosexuals, the Air Bud, Broken Glass, and Jared Fogle. Jared Fogle, you may remember, as the man that was arrested for child porn. First one off the list. Didn't even make it to the.
See, that would have been my number one.
That's not what I remember him for. I mean, just realistically speaking, you remember him as the Subway guy who also likes child porn.
Okay. Well, he's gone. He's not going to be the worst thing. I thought this was going to be an easy episode, but it's not. We're getting down to the nitty, the gritty. Geese, Imagine Dragons, Wheatgrass Juice. Which one of those three does not belong with the other two?
Imagine Dragons.
All right, then Imagine Dragons is off the list, but I'm glad I got to stay this long. I really do hate it. I cannot believe the final two. Wheatgrass Juice.
This is tough. This is real tough.
And Geese.
This is Russia.
Why are you surprised?
This is glory.
I feel like I stressed it. I thought Jared Fogle and Iran would be the last two here.
I thought Jared Fogle would be at least up there.
But Wheatgrass Juice and Geese, what are your feelings on both of these things, Patrick?
Well, it's like that movie Glory, you know? You got the two hockey teams, and that's what we have. We have the two hockey teams.
Yeah, we have two hockey teams.
And Wheatgrass Juice is America and Geese is Russia, you know? So say what you will about that. Back to you.
I'm not sure what
Sam, Sam, I can't argue with those. You can't argue with those facts. The movie Glory and Wheatgrass Juice is America and Geese is Russia. If there's one thing I've never argued with, it's what he just said. That was the truest statement ever said on the show. I was thinking you were talking about the movie Glory Road. That's a different movie. That's a miniseries.
Yeah, that's got some Mad Max movie, Glory Road.
Hell yeah. Mad Max and Morgan Freeman at it again.
Yeah. So is this one of those things where you want one of them to win, but the other one's going to win?
I don't know what's happening. I don't think Patrick was making any sense.
All right.
It was like when Andrew Lloyd Webber was once asked about the play Cats, and the man said, "Is the play Cats about the Scottish Civil War?" And Andrew Lloyd Webber looked at him and said, "It's a play about cats." Sam, what are your thoughts on Wheatgrass? I never had Wheatgrass Juice.
I'm pretty happy with where we landed on Wheatgrass Juice and Geese because they're both things that have personally affected me.
Yeah.
There are things that are pretty bad. We know Jared Fogle never did anything to me.
What does Wheatgrass Juice taste like?
It's terrible.
Neither wheat nor grass. Which it makes the name very misleading.
It does taste like grass, though.
You take a shot and you're expecting...
It's like chalky.
You're expecting a weedy, grassy taste, and all you get is just not that.
I think it tastes like wheat and grass. And I think that's a big problem.
You both are completely... You both hate it, and you both think it tastes the exact opposite of it.
Well, I don't know why you.
He says it doesn't taste like wheat or grass. You're saying it tastes exactly like wheat and grass.
Why would you want something
and you
that
both
tastes
say
like wheat or grass? Anyway, it's not
why?
Like
what else did you expect when you take a shot of it?
It tastes like a.
Have you ever taken a sip of milk and you thought it was like a root beer?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh no.
You took a sip of milk and thought it was root beer?
Well,
root beer comes in a can and milk comes...
I get canned milk. I can my milk.
What?
You gotta respond.
It's like if you... it would be like if you had a glass of water and it turned out to be vodka. It would be realistic.
Or if you... but anyways, Patrick is experiencing that
awesome.
with wheatgrass juice.
Yeah.
You want to plan ahead what you think you're going to taste. He didn't taste what he thought.
I don't know. I thought it was going to taste like cereal. Because there's wheat in cereal, right?
And then grass.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah. Well, grass and wheat, they're the same thing.
Okay. What about geese? What do you call geese, Patrick?
I've never tasted a goose before. But
That is the one, I think, one thing they have over wheatgrass juice. I think if you ate a goose,
it'd probably be pretty
I
good.
think it's good.
Yeah.
I don't think it is because I've been to a lot of nice restaurants and you never see goose on the menu. You see quail.
You can get like a Christmas goose.
Oh, Christmas Goose.
Yeah.
You know, but we
You
already
get Christmas
took
Goose.
off the book of the Bible, so.
Like in a Christmas Story.
Yeah. That's racist.
Okay, all right. We're down to the final two. I am going to let Sam vote first. What do you think the worst of the worst is? Wheatgrass Juice or Geese?
Wheatgrass Juice.
Wow, that was even close.
I agree with Sam.
Oh, no, God damn it, the suspense is ruined.
Wheatgrass Juice, definitely the worst.
All right, I guess I'm voting Geese.
When you lost.
Why do you think Geese are worse?
Because Wheatgrass Juice, I can just not have it. Geese are always around.
Oh, that's a good point. I changed
They're
it.
constantly around geese.
I don't think I've been around a goose in 2 years.
If I'm walking down the trail and there's a goose and it decides to come after me, the goose is coming after me.
Well, hang on. Just don't walk down a trail.
I gotta walk. You can't tell me where I can and can't walk, goose. I don't have to walk down the trail and like, hey, take Wheatgrass Juice so you don't get to go over the bridge.
I don't know. I haven't seen a goose in 2 years, but I've definitely.
What are you talking about? Where have you been? There's geese everywhere in this
I've
city.
definitely come in contact
Inside?
with Wheatgrass Juice in the last 2 years.
All right, well, Sam, you seem to maybe flipping flopping. I'm voting Geese. He's voting Wheatgrass Juice. What are you voting now? You can keep the vote if you want. There's no pressure, but it's.
Well, if he changes it to Geese, I'm going to change it to Geese. I don't want to lose.
Well, then I'm changing the Wheatgrass Juice.
Oh, well,
I think Wheatgrass Juice is the worst thing.
All right, so you
Yeah, we
voted
all
Geese,
three
I voted
agree.
Wheatgrass Juice, he voted Wheatgrass Juice. Wheatgrass Juice is the worst. The worst Patrick loses.
It's always a pleasure to be on your podcast, Joe.
Oh, God, folks. All right, Geese are gone. The winner by the biggest surprise I think I've ever had on this show. The worst of the worst things on my show were best non-alcoholic beverage, Wheatgrass Juice, folks. Wheatgrass Juice. There were a couple of worst stuff where I didn't add on the list, which was worst fantasy football bust of 2016, which I think was Adrian Peterson, because I didn't think you would like that one. And then the other one, because it was another NFL one, was worst penalty in sports was the touchdown celebration flag, which was recently removed.
They removed.
Oh, you can get in trouble for celebrating a touchdown?
Now they have these great new elaborate ones.
Which are
Fantastic.
I think they're okay. I haven't seen a very good one
The
yet.
Duck Goose one from the Eagles game.
Yeah, it was pretty good. But worst of the worst, non-alcoholic beverage, Wheatgrass Juice. As always, folks, I'm your host, Joe Bates. And I'd like to thank my special guest experts I had on the show, Mr. Sam Griswold. Sam, do you have any Twitter or Instagram or upcoming shows, or do you run any shows someday at Alley Cat? Do you do anything like that?
Yeah, there's a show on Sunday at the Alley Cat.
Indianapolis, folks.
In Indianapolis, in Broad Ripple. You can
Fan-
find me on Twitter or whatever, Instagram, Sam Grizzy. It's Grizzy.
Check it out, folks. Very
Yep.
funny man. Head writer for Bob and Tom. And just a delight to be around to make fun of, which is my favorite part about him. And over here,
My my PlayStation name is PTrain1337. Add me on PlayStation, and we can play stations together.
Oh, do you have anything else you'd like to plug, Patrick?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm your host, Joe Bates. Follow me on Twitter at JoeAmerica22. Follow me on Facebook at the Rank You Very Much page. You can go to the Rank You Very Much page on Facebook. Also, subscribe to Rank You Very Much on YouTube. Even if you don't give a shit about the show and you're just kind of tuning in, just give me likes and subscribe, folks. That'd be really nice of you. I'd appreciate it. And thank you so much for watching the worst of the worst on Rank You Very Much, winner Wheatgrass Juice. That's Rank You Very Much, folks. You're welcome.
You gotta do everything.